This an all-out blitz. Real hard hits, them other podcast trash, we gon' make them all quit. We cover all the topics with intelligence and logic. I know you wanna score, but ID gon' stop it. We from Texas, so that mean that we Texans. Breaking down the X's and O's, our profession. No complaining, just training, you see the progression. They had a Pro Bowl for talk shows, we get selected. We gon' celebrate every win like a birthday. Ray J with the news, first with all the updates. Spin move on the competition, yeah, we juking them. You not really in touch if you not tuning in. This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown, we not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they bout to stampede.
Hey everyone, and happy Labor Day. I'm your host tonight, Matthew Briggs. Watch to say today. As always, I have my amazing trio, starting off with Mr. VT. How you going, buddy?
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
And Crenshaw, you know what today is?
It's Labor Day.
No, 2 years ago, today, me and you aired our first episode of the Texans fan battle. So happy second year anniversary.
Happy second year anniversary, man. That was a good segue right there.
It was. And guys, to celebrate our second anniversary, we got 2 special guests. Let me introduce our first one. We got Mr. AD from the Houston Rundown. What's going on, bud?
Much. How y'all doing, man? Thank y'all for having me.
And guys, 2 years ago when me and Crenshaw first started this thing, one of the biggest guests we wanted to get was the official voice of the Houston Texans. And we're honored to have him on for the second time. We got Mr. Marc Vandermeer.
Hey guys, I think the first time I was on my phone and it was hard to see everybody. I couldn't get reception. Was that 2 years ago? Was that that long ago? Was that during the COVID? Oh, it was last year. Okay.
Yes,
so I can't use COVID as an excuse. Darn it.
You use whatever you want as an excuse. We're just glad to have you on. So, well, let's just jump into some Texan news. Before I do that, guys, it's Thursday. Is the start of the season. It seemed like it was a year too long. So slow. There's some odds that came out for the Chiefs and Lions game. Negative 6.5 for the Chiefs. And then they got the Ravens, negative 10 versus the Texans. Marc, I'll start with you. Is that fair for the Texans game?
Look, lines are always about what people will take, right? What the consumer behavior will be on the line. Because, for instance, with the Lions and the Chiefs, let's say you think the Chiefs are going to win by 14, but is everybody going to think that, right? The Ravens and the Texans, if you put it at Ravens 14, then everyone's going to say, well, the Texans might get the upset. If you put it at Ravens 7, then it's like, well, I don't like that. So they put it where I think they put it right on the line of where, the over-under on the margin, that's the popular opinion, more than, being able to predict what's actually going to happen here. Because I don't think people really know what to expect with the Houston Texans in 2023, especially early. We haven't seen them really play yet as a unit for 60 minutes. The Ravens, even though they have the new offensive coordinator, they're far more, I hate to use the word predictable because it sounds like that means they're easy to deal with. They're not. But you know what Lamar Jackson does. You know what OBJ could possibly bring. You know what Mark Andrews can do. You know how the Ravens can handle their business. And defensively, they have a dynamite ethic on that side of the ball. With the Texans, you know what DeMeco wants to do, but you don't really know what the offense is really going to look like with Stroud and the weapons they'll have. You don't really know what the defense is going to do with DeMeco. I mean, you can look at San Francisco and think about the personnel. So there's a lot more unpredictability on the Texans side of things. So I think the line, it is wherever the popular opinion is going to be, and that's it.
All right. BT, same thing?
I mean, I think that part of the reason why it's negative 10 isn't just because we're so unknown, right, with DeMeco and Bobby and everyone else, but also there's a fair amount of injuries, which I will obviously get to in a moment. But, we're pretty banged up right now. So I saw that the odds did fluctuate. We were actually less than 10 a few days ago. I think we were at 9. But it bumped back up because of injuries. And, with the O-line right now with Titus Howard, potentially being out. He's wearing a club on his hand. With Scruggs out, with Kenyon Green out for the season, with the makeshift O-line, and not to mention the other injuries. But just on the O-line, I do think it makes sense because we are a new team and we're banged up.
All right. AD, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it has a mixture too of, we've added so many players this offseason, new players to the team. And, it's the unknown. Like Mark said, it's just they don't know how we're going to gel, how we're going to compete, or how we're going to, show up on Sunday. As a team, they can go from a few preseason games, but even the preseason games, we weren't complete as a whole going into week one as we were. So just trying to see, it's always a gamble, and it's always the Vegas trying to make money. So Vegas is going to always side with them where the money is. So they're always going to put the odds where the money is.
All right. And Chris, I'll finish you off with it.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's mostly the unknown. I mean, hell, we don't know nothing about the team right now. And the offensive line injuries is a big factor because we want to run the ball, and they know the Ravens is a great rush defense. So that alone right there is going to push the line even back further and further. I had confidence going into the game, but right now I don't think we're going to win this one, fellas. But we'll talk about that a little later.
All right. Well, let's just jump into it then. Texans versus Ravens. Mark, you're going to fly down there, huh, for the game? What's your preview looking like for the Texans and Ravens?
Preview? Look, I think the goals are going to be, let's see if you can execute without making the big mistakes on offense. I mean, I think when you're dealing with rookie quarterback and however they organize things at center, because center is it's been decimated. You had Scotty go down, then you had Juice go down. Patterson played a bunch against the Saints. That's good. You have other options at center possibly, but I'm not sure how they're going to handle it. I think it's going to be Patterson, but that's just an opinion. I don't know anything because I just saw individual practice. I didn't see how they lined up, but it makes the most sense probably because he's got at least experience with this unit. But, you could go to Kendrick Green, who played center a couple of years ago for the Steelers and go that way. But anyway, the point is this, being able to execute the operation cleanly with Stroud and protect him just enough so he can make some plays. And you do that through running the football. You have to be able to run the ball like you guys are saying. And just enough to keep the Ravens linebackers, a little bit honest here. Maybe find Dalton Schultz for some plays and Tank and Nico, however you can put it together with CJ. And then on the other side, man, is that tough to deal with Lamar Jackson. I read somewhere he's got a giant chip on his shoulder after signing a $260 million contract. I thought, give me that kind of chip. But, so if that's a chip, and I get it because it took so long and everything like that, he represented himself. But the point is this, he's back, and they were pretty good without him. They made the playoffs without him. Huntley brought him down the stretch, and even though they didn't excel, they still made the postseason without Lamar and playing in some key games. He's back now. And like I said, the defensive ethic, I think in 24 years, they finished out of the top 10 just 7 times. And they have a lot of top 5, top 3 finishes in there on defense. So I don't know what this group is going to do, but they're going to be pretty good. And that's a tough place to play. They've never won up there. It's 12 matchups with the Ravens, only 2 wins. Both of them were here. So buckle up. Here we go.
Well, I'll kick it off to Crenshaw because Crenshaw's been saying that the whole time that Baltimore is a tough place to play. So, Crenshaw, what's your preview looking like?
Well, the preview looking like we want to run, like I said previously, but they got a good rush defense. So we got to take some shots early since they secondary is all banged up, and we just can't be scared, man. I mean, this is CJ's first game out there. If he messes up, he messes up. Just take shots, man. It's like keep them, make us unpredictable. And I don't want us to be predictable. I don't want us to okay, we know what they're going to do. Stack the box like they did last year on us. But I still don't see us winning this game. If we win this game, I'm buying everybody on this podcast, including you, Mark, a steak.
Yes.
It's not going to be well done. It has to be.
It could be
rare.
any way you want.
Well done.
It could be anybody want the steak. Well done, medium rare plus, like Lakiki said. So any way you want it, if we win this game on Sunday. So that's my take on it right there.
All right. Well, BT, Mark said Lamar Jackson playing with the chip on his shoulder. Well, he hasn't played in like 280 days. So, what's your preview looking like?
Well, I think I mean that's actually right. That's on the money there. He could have a lot of rust in him. He's one of the 8 quarterbacks that didn't play in preseason. There's a new offensive coordinator. He is planning to throw the ball a lot more, and I think the chip on Lamar's shoulder is that everyone calls him a running back and not a quarterback, and he's like, I can throw too. And I think a lot of people just forget that he had the most passing touchdowns in 2019. They have selective memory. I do think the Lamar hate gets a little weird. I mean, he is a great quarterback, but I will say that he has had issues with inaccuracy. Now, we know also that Mark Andrews is a little banged up too. We don't know exactly why. People are speculating that it could be because he has diabetes and he hasn't been practicing, and because it doesn't look like he has an actual injury, like he's not on crutches or anything like that. He doesn't have a cast on. So they don't. So Harbaugh is saying that he's going to play week 1, but that is something to keep out for. So he's got new offensive weapons. He's got Zay Flowers. He's got OBJ, but OBJ hasn't played in a very long time either. And Zay Flowers is a rookie. So you've got a lot of new stuff, new offensive coordinator, new weapons. New system, all this stuff. So if there's a chance that we could take them on, it would be week 1. The real issue here is our injuries. We have O-line injuries, as I mentioned. Jimmy Ward has a groin injury. Christian Harris is hurt. I don't even know what the injury is for him. Blake Cashman is hurt. So, I made a joke of this on Twitter, like we need to keep a case of Toradol on the sideline because we're pretty banged up right now. And frankly, that is the big reason why I think that if we look bad, it's going to be injuries. I'll tell you what, though. I still think that DeMeco is a genius, a defensive-minded genius. And for the most part, I still think that we are going to show off our secondary. I think our secondary is still going to be incredibly strong. And I think that because Lamar's going to try to throw, particularly he's got to think, hey, it's the Texans. I can throw on them, right? They picked second in the draft. So I do think the coordinator and Lamar are going to think that they could take advantage of us. And I think that we might catch him off guard, particularly and catch 1 or 2 interceptions. Overall, right now, I mean, again, I'm not saying my actual prediction because I want to still say that for just a little later, but it doesn't look necessarily as good as it did last week.
All right. And offense with you, AD. What do you think?
I think this is the time that the Texans come up and shock the world. I think the Texans is so many factors that I put in to this that the Ravens don't know what we're going to do. They don't know what we're coming with. They don't, they can predict, they can try to piece things together, but they don't have any clue of what we're going to bring to the table and the type of team that DeMeco Ryans is going to bring on Sunday. And like you said, V, they have so many questions. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Lamar Jackson even played in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken.
Nope, he did not.
And just the fact that he's been, like you said, Matt, 280 days since he's actually played in an actual NFL game, whether it be preseason or regular season, is going to be a lot of adjustment. It's going to be a lot of adjustment. The fact that he didn't actually have actual game reps with the OBJs and the Tank Dells of the world. The fact that he doesn't have game action with Todd Monken, the new OC. Trying just, practice gets you so far, but live game action is valuable. And the fact that they haven't had that, I just feel like this is the Texans' prime opportunity to take this game and shock the world and be on top like we should be.
Yeah, I agree with you. BT talks about injuries, which we are banged up, but the Ravens secondary is quite beat up as well.
Yes.
And I think we can export that, especially with Dalton Schultz, like Mark said, start the run game and then surprise him a little bit with Dalton Schultz. I'm agree with you, AD. Look, if to do time to do it, to surprise the world is week 1. It happens all the time. So why not start with the Texans? Do I see it happen? No, but would I like to happen? Yes. So we'll see.
I would have felt better if we was at home on shocking the world than on the road. And are we going to have time to throw the ball down the field to exploit that secondary? So that's my issue right there.
Well, let's get to DeMeco Ryan's press conference, he mentions the
Wait,
injuries.
I'm sorry, Matt. I need to just bring up 3 points before we get to DeMeco's press conference. And that's, all right. There's three things that we learned about preseason and the Ravens. One, the Ravens used 11 personnel 12% of the time last year, but in preseason, they're using it 60% of the time. That shows that they definitely are going to throw more, right? So we need to force Lamar to throw because we do have game wreckers like Petrie, out there, and Stingley, and hopefully Ward comes back with Nelson. Like our secondary, I'll say this before, I'll say it again, it's a top 5 secondary. We need to force Lamar to throw, and it looks like that's what they want to do. So, if we got a chance here, that's where it's going to be. It's in their secondary. Another thing, they passed 54% last year, and in preseason, it's 62%. It's just more data that's showing that they just want to throw. And here's the other thing. On first downs last year, they ran the ball 53% of the time. And in preseason, it's been 42% of the time. So again, they're showing less run. So what does that tell me? Well, they're going to run the ball less. They're going to pass more. And that's what we can take advantage from.
Before we jump on, Mark, is there anything you'd like to conclude with all that?
Well, that is good. That's good data right there. But you know what's going to happen? Lamar gets in trouble. Whoop, he's gone, right? He takes off with the ball, and he's capable of taking it to the house from anywhere, or at least doing some serious damage. I was looking back at the 2019 game. That's a pretty good Texans team going up there in 2019, 2 weeks after the London trip. And it's an utter blowout, right? You're down, 34-0 before you score. I know you had the bad PI call involving D-Hop and all that. Or no call. What was it? There was a no call or a call, whatever. Early on, might have gotten a touchdown, could have been different. But look, they kicked the butts of the Houston Texans that day. I think you guys bring up some good points. There's an opportunity here because it's opening day. You have the element of surprise. And I could see Lamar trying to throw it like, incomplete on third down again. A couple of key third down stops in the second half. Maybe you get a turnover. Maybe you get a big play on special teams. Those kinds of things. Maybe Dell breaks loose for a huge touchdown. Those are the kinds of things you're going to need to pull this one off.
Like I said, hopefully we shock the world. week 1 to do it, right? Well, let's jump into that DeMeco Ryan's press conference because it was a pretty good one. It got me hyped, ready for the season. Mark, what was your takeaway from this press conference?
I like how he doesn't take the bait on injury questions, Well, we'll see how they do on Sunday, it's good. Good answer, Coach. And I think DeMeco's always been really good with the media dating back to his days as a player here, but he's just getting better and better all the time because as a head coach, it's a different deal. It's a different issue altogether because guys are going to want injury information. You think about what the media wants. They want stuff that people want to know. People want to know who's playing, who's not playing. So those questions are going to come up a lot in different and creative ways. And I think he's handling those well. But overall, guys, I can't say enough about the way he's been just this electric, energizing personality, and everybody feeds off of it. Just having him in the building here has been a world of difference. And my office, I got walls in between us, but I'm probably, 50 feet away from him right now. He's just, unless he's with the team downstairs, but he's got this infectious personality. I think it's going to go a long way toward helping this team perform at a high level. It's not just about the talent. It's about, can you get them to maximize their efforts? And I think he's the kind of coach who can do that. He did it as a coordinator, and I think he's going to do it as a head coach. And today, some of my bigger takeaways was, it's game week. It's on, it's been on, but now it's really on and you can just feel it. And I think he's still the same guy. There's no question, but everything just feels amped up right now. And I'm looking forward to seeing the results on Sunday at noon.
Couldn't say anything better. Mr. AD, what about you? What do you take from it?
The biggest thing is that I know I don't want to play DeMeco Ryans in poker. He's not gonna give you anything. But yeah, the confidence that he exudes is infectious, and the personality he brings to this team is something I feel like we've been missing, especially from the head coaching position for the last few years. David Culley had a personality too, but DeMeco is bringing a different feel and a different confidence that we haven't had, and that just all around, the way he answers questions and the way he is navigating those questions and the way he is appropriately protecting his team and his coaches and everybody all in the same sense of, giving you a great answer in the same time without slighting the reporters or the persons asking the questions. It's a nuanced thing that he's almost mastered at this point as a rookie head coach.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. He has the gift of gab, right? Crenshaw, what about you?
Just like like AD said, the poker face. I like that right there. I like that he's caught in plays. I was skeptical on that right there, but I like that he's caught in plays and everything. And I'm just really more excited of him just actually being out there. We finally got the coach that we've been looking for years, and I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about the fans as well, because now we got something really to root for. We was rooting for the team, but we was like, I don't know. But now we all the way back, man. So that's my take on that, man.
All right, and last but not least, Mr. VT, what do you think?
Yeah, I think there were a couple takeaways. Like Crenshaw said, we have confirmation that he's going to call defensive plays, but he also talked about John Mechie, and he said it's been a long time since John's been out there playing football. He says he's dedicated to the process and it takes time, and he's on the right track to get out there. And if I can sort of dissect the words, it sounds to me like Mechie is going to obviously play, but not necessarily at the level people are expecting him to right away. I think they're going to slow roll him a little bit, get him used to NFL speed, and add to those snaps week after week after week, potentially after the bye or later. I think we'll see more and more of Mechie, but not in the very beginning. I also think that I love the way that he attacked the injury question. He said the team is not whining about the injury bug. Now, most of you, actually all of you except for Mark, because you're not just a fan, but all of you are in the Texans chat, and you know what people are saying, right? Like the injury bug is there, the injuries are a problem, and I am called as complaining. Yeah, I'm complaining about it because I didn't want to have the injuries, but the team isn't, and that's what's important, right? The team has that next man up mentality. The team is saying we can still win this thing, and I think that's important. DeMeco Ryans puts a face out there of confidence, and the team definitely believes it. It's hard not to believe it when you listen to him. If you look in contrast to the other coaches we had, I know that AD, you mentioned Cully, but look at Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith actually got angry with the press when you asked him some of these type of hard questions, and you don't see that from DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco Ryans has a game plan, and he keeps his game plan the entire time that he's up there answering the press. And every single time he speaks, he actually does say something important. It's usually it usually don't have a DeMeco press conference or like, I don't know what he just said. So I really do love listening to him talk.
Agreed. I had to say the same thing. You're right, VT. The injuries are worrisome, but like they said, next man up. Every player knows that, so hopefully it's not a big concern. Mark, we know you have to leave here soon, so before we let you go, let's get your take on what is the big difference from the team from last year to this year, and what's your predictions of this game and the end of the season?
I think the biggest thing is they have something they can really build with now with DeMeco Ryans and his staff. The players they've been drafting for the last couple of years under Caserio, good, obviously good base, and I know not everybody works out. I get it, but that's every draft, right, for every team. But I really feel like they're on their way, and I don't know how long it's going to take, but they're on their way. It reminds me of the beginning of the Kubiak era in many ways, because I felt like, all right, we got the right people here, and some of the people might change year to year. Very rarely staffs stay entirely together, but you got the head guy here, and you got a GM who can pick good players, and I think that it's going to grow in the right direction from here. The last couple of years felt like, because they were one-offs as they turned out. Cully, great man. Lovey's a coach who's won a ton of games in this league. We get it. But this start is a guy in a position where he can build in the city, in the community, grow it all the way up, take as long as you need. Now, look, we all want it to happen tomorrow, but I think, we're going to see the progress and the process and all of it unfold together. And I'll be shocked if they're not a lot better than they were last year. I thought they'd be better than they were the year before last year, but clearly they had trouble finishing games and, getting over the hump in the fourth quarter. Those are the things I want to see. Let's see, I expect the record to be better, but at the very least, I want to see some of those games where you're right in it in the fourth quarter. You make the big plays. You make the big stops. You get the big first downs and the big maybe game-winning field goals or the go-ahead touchdown and hang on to that lead. Right. Those kinds of things instead of what happened in Chicago and Denver and Kansas City, even in Dallas, and some of those games where I just named 4 right there that were coulda, woulda, shoulda wins, and you didn't get them. I want to see those moments, them close out in those moments, and I think they have the right people here to do it. The talent is better. The coaching staff is together. There's a togetherness, and I can tell you this, in this building, it's never been this together between ownership and football ops and business ops and everybody working in concert. It's thanks to the McNairs and everything they're putting together here. So we're all going in the right direction now. It's a matter of how long it's going to take to get to the promised land. But as I said, we'll all be here watching it together.
I love it. And on Sunday, what's your prediction?
Okay. I don't predict scores, right, but I'm going to say this. They're going to be in this thing in the second half. That's what I want to see because, and I want to see them make those plays. I want to see them make some of those plays. Now, look, Lamar Jackson, he could come out of the phone booth as Superman, having not played for 280 whatever days it's been. But I want to see them in the second half and making this a hotly contested affair and just win or lose, put the world on notice that the Texans are better in 2023 and then come back and beat the Colts because I hate them like poison. And that is huge. It's a monumental game, the home opener in the division. So win or lose against the Ravens. I mean, that Colts game is colossal. Anyway, that's how I feel about everything.
Well, we love it, Mark. Thanks again for coming on. We know you have to get going. So we want to say thank you. And why don't you tell everybody where you can find you on social media and what you got cooking?
At Texans Voice on Twitter, but follow us on the Texans app, and we got all the shows. And starting tomorrow, we've got ND Kalu hosted a player show at 6 on Texans Radio, Sports Radio 610. ND's going to be a bigger part of what we're doing here every week, so you're going to be hearing him a lot. We're going to have more reporters on, and love to come on again at some point with you guys. And we've got other people who would love to come on as well. So you guys do a great job, and I'm really appreciative of you having me on today.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark.
When you walk by Coach's office, tell him we said hi, all right?
I'll certainly do that. I'm going to go over there right now.
All right. You have a good day, Mike.
All right, take care, guys.
Mark.
See you. Bye.
All right, fellas.
Mark is definitely one of the best people in that building, I got to say.
Right. I mean, since he's been here since 2002, right? So glad he's the voice. Before we get on to NFL news, let's finish off the conversation. Game predictions. I'll start with you, VT. What's the prediction? What you got?
So my prediction is that we'll lose. I don't think that we will win this game, but I do think that we will see some really awesome plays from CJ Stroud. He's going to be under pressure. We know that. Their linebackers are insane. I'm expecting them to blitz. I'm expecting them to blitz right in the interior. They know that's the weakest part. So we're going to have to see CJ deal with that pressure. And I'm going to say that we're going to see some similar Georgia game, like what we saw when he played Georgia, some of that fantastic footwork, some of where he had to throw receivers open. I think we're going to witness some of that. What I also think we're going to see is we're going to see Will Anderson put up freaking pressure. He's going to put up the pressure, and hopefully he can put enough hurries and hits on where either Petrie or Stingley or Ward or Nelson can actually get the ball back to the offense. That's what I want to see from the quarterback, and that's what I want to see from the defense. In terms of just win and loss, listen, it's the first game. We're battered up, so I'm not expecting us to blow out the Ravens or even win. But there's still things that we can look forward to because Week 4 we know that Scruggs is coming back. We know that Howard is gonna come back. If he doesn't play this game, he'll be back soon enough. So, what we see today or what we see on Sunday is not going to be what we see Week 4 or Week 5. But what we can see is the quarterback kicking ass. What we can see is Will Anderson kicking ass. What we can see is that secondary kicking ass. And what I want to see on Sunday is them kicking some ass.
Oh, love it. Crenshaw, what you got, brother?
Hey man, make sure you give Steven Nelson some credit, man. You'll never say his name on the pod, man. it's like you said, don't say his name on purpose. I noticed that from you, man. But I think it's gonna be in the beginning gonna be real ugly, real sluggish, like nasty game in the first beginning. But like Mark said before he left, we're gonna be in it in the second half. But I see the Ravens pulling off in the fourth quarter, and I'm gonna give the score 24-17. Supposed to be 40% chance of rain that day, but I mean that don't mean nothing. But that could be a factor. Or we notice how against New England, CJ wasn't effective on the wet ground. But like I say, put the world on notice. I mean that's a close game right there. We never won in Baltimore. If we do win, like I say, no states. I'm not lying. I got you. No cap.
Well,
if we win, can we just ask this question real quick? If we win, are we saying, I don't care if it's just a week one win. If we win, are we saying that I'm going to hype up and you are going to hype up DeMeco as coach of the year? Because I am going to. That's going to be my narrative if we win.
Well, I won't say, well, you know what? Yeah, you can hype a coach of the year because we win that game. I can see us winning the division. No cap. We can win the division. I mean, because like Baltimore is probably one of the three hardest teams you're going to play this year. So you beat them, why you can't beat Cincinnati? Why you can't beat the Jets? So, hey.
Oh man, get it spicy. AD, are you gonna finish off with the spiciness or you gonna cool it off? What you got?
No. I'm sticking to my prediction that the Texans are gonna win this game. It's gonna be a tight, contested game. I think the Texans are gonna pull it out. I'm gonna say 29-27.
Ooh,
super close game.
Shootout.
And it's so many factors, that I'm really excited about seeing. But yeah, the Tank. I think we talked about Tank Dell. It's probably going to be a major factor, especially in special teams. I think that is going to be a factor. Baltimore has notoriously been great at special teams, but I think this year we may have an advantage on the special team side that may get us over the hump as far as field position and everything like that. And then, Baltimore, I just don't. I think they're going to be missing something. They're going to be missing something, especially on defense in the secondary, like VT said earlier. They're shorthanded, and I think even if we don't beat them deep, and I know that the pass rush is a factor with Baltimore, I just think that we're going to hit them with the quick passing game that's going to march us down the field. And we haven't talked about it today, but Dameon Pierce is a factor on this team. And Dameon Pierce is going to be an influential part on this offense, especially on Sunday. So Texans.
Okay. So AD, you said we're gonna score 29 points. So what's gonna be CJ stats for that game?
CJ is going to be around between 270 to 300 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. I don't think he's going to throw an interception.
Okay.
A nice clean game. I like
it.
it.
Nice clean game. Okay.
I like how you mentioned that Dameon Pierce is going to be a factor. Crenshaw's going to love this one. I think Devin Singletary is going to be a factor because like BT said, it's a rookie quarterback. It's going to be rain. What are you going to do? You're going to blitz. So what do? You give the screen to the best catcher running back wise on the team, and that's Devin Singletary. I think Singletary is going to have a good, almost 100 yards receiving. So that's how you beat the blitz. I say it's going to be a close game, 17-14. I'm going to say the Ravens. But
I think you're right that Singletary is going to be great in the passing game, but when we're talking about yards on the ground, I think they're going to run Dameon Pierce 25 carries. I think he's going to just slam.
Well, yeah, I get that. Right. That's what you should do, right? But I'm just saying
because listen, he can get yards after contact, right? This is the thing that I keep preaching. That one of the reasons why you gotta love this guy is because if there's no gaps open, he makes gaps open. He will run through the tackles. He does not give a shit. He's getting his yards. And you need someone like that when you're in a situation where your line is messed up, where you got a rookie quarterback, where you got a rookie head coach, an OC, and all this stuff. He is the solution to being able to open up the passing game at all. So Dameon Pierce is going to be incredibly strong this game. Plus, if you got him in fantasy, start him. Start him this game.
I'm not saying he's not going to have a strong game. I'm just saying that Devin Singletary is going to be the key factor to help CJ Stroud to beat the blitz, because that's how you beat the blitz. It screens. And plus, I mean, you want Dameon Pierce catching the ball when he for a check down, or do you want Devin Singletary?
No, I want Singletary catching, but I want Dameon Pierce running the hell of that ball.
Right. So, Chris got to look on his face. So,
look at him.
No, I would just like you say. I mean, the only way I would tell somebody to start Dameon Pierce Sunday if I'm playing against them in fantasy. But man, like I say, the Ravens rush defense was like top 3 last year, man. I don't think he's gonna get that many yards on them like that, man.
He played teams that had top 5 defenses, and look at the Cowboys. The Cowboys.
Did he play the Ravens?
Listen, the Cowboys. They were top 5 rush defense, were they not?
Yes,
right?
But he didn't play the Ravens.
And he still had like 70 yards on them. He got hurt that game, but he still had like 70 yards. So, I mean, listen, he plays against teams that have really good defenses on the rush, and he still gets his yards.
Actually, the Jaguars was ranked number 8 in rush defense, and his most memorable run was against the Jaguars. I mean, he has played some good. The Cowboys had a good run defense, and he cooked them. So, I mean,
well, look, like I say, if he get 90, I'll be shocked. If he get 90,
I would say that he's at least having 60 yards, if not more, on Sunday.
Because last year, Singletary only had like 49 yards against the Ravens last year. So, I mean, but okay, we're gonna see.
One thing I want to bring up that Matt brought up, and he was talking about the screen game with Devin Singletary. Another part of the screen game that I don't think that we are really talking about is the tight end screen game with Dalton Schultz, and using him as a weapon and a factor to get down the field and to counter that blitz action. So I really think that he's going to play a major part as well.
I also think they're going to use I know everybody hates calling Tank Dell a gadget player, but I think they're going to use Tank Dell as a gadget player in the screens and reverses to help with that pressure from the blitz. So, yeah, I think you're right. Dalton, Tank and Singletary be guys to help out with the blitz. So, but I have to agree with BT on this one, Crenshaw. We can't let that go. Look, the thing that hurt Dameon was the play calling, and those guys are gone. So this is the year where he's going to cook, and I think I don't think he breaks out for 100, but I think he gets at least like 80 yards in the TD, and that's serviceable for a running back these years, right? It's a passing league. No running back gets 80, 90 yards a game anymore, unless Henry with 50 carries a game.
I'm going to disagree with all y'all. I think that he's going to get over 100 yards just because I feel like the Texans are going to be committed to the run. And, which is different than what we've seen in the past, that the Texans kind of go away. That's another one. Boone is another backup running back. But I think that Pierce gets that just based on the fact that they've been talking. We've heard them talk about it. We've heard them kind of show it and kind of be consistent with it. Is running the football. And I think that if you have the right personnel on the offensive line, don't know who they're going to bring in to start. It's still kind of a confusion. But if you put in the factor of Shaq Mason as your starting guard, they're going to be running a lot to the right. And we saw that in the preseason a lot. When they ran the ball, they ran to that right side, Shaq Mason side, and he was just getting to the second level and pushing the pile.
I want to actually get your thoughts, AD, in a moment about who you think will actually be starting the O-line. But before you do that, I want to agree with you on your Dameon Pierce stuff, because I'm saying at least 60 yards for Dameon Pierce. But the reason why I would start him in fantasy, not besides that, I just want him to obviously do well as a Texans fan, but he is going to be getting those carries, right? Like, I understand there's Boone there and there's Singletary there, but Boone will probably get maybe 5 carries if he's lucky. Singletary won't be running that much. I would say he's only going to get 5 carries. Now, in terms of, pass catching ability, that's a different story. But actually running the rock, it's all Dameon Pierce. It's a Dameon Pierce show. But yeah, let me ask this question since we're talking about it. What's everyone's projections on who's starting for that O-line on Sunday?
Who wants to go first? Oh yeah, okay. For me, I think I'm gonna start left to right. I think that Tunsil at left tackle. Of course, I think that we would start um, Jones. I think that's his name.
Josh
The
Jones.
Josh Jones at left guard. I think Dieter will be the starting center. And then I think of Shaq Mason and then Noah Fant, not Noah Fant, George Fant. George Fant at right tackle. I think that'll be your starting offensive line. I think they bring Dieter up he's on practice squad right now, right?
Yeah.
I think they bring him up as an elevation and they start him week 1 and they put him next to Josh Jones and Tunsil and Fant on the outside.
So that's a discussion that me and Matt were having last night because I think that they should start Dieter at left guard, but you and him seem to agree that Dieter should be center instead of Patterson. Do you not think that Dieter is a better left guard than he is a center?
I think that Dieter is a better center than Patterson is right now based on his experience in the NFL.
Okay.
Not necessarily the offense because Dieter has a little bit of, familiarity with the offense being, coming from the Dolphins, but, just the fact that Patterson is a rookie, still trying to learn the offense, still trying to learn the game, the speed of the game of the NFL, I would rather put a veteran out first before I subject Patterson, a rookie, to fire against a tough Baltimore defensive line.
Okay. Yeah, see, and that's why I was saying last night, VT. Like, it's not that I don't trust Patterson. Either one's fine with me. You put Patterson or put Dieter, it don't matter. But Dieter has more experience in game time to Patterson. And when you're going up against a Baltimore defense, that's what you want is experience. Because in a fantasy land, I would like this. I would like Patterson at center and Broker at left guard. But I want the guy who can protect CJ Stroud the best. That's what I want. Whatever combo DeMeco Ryans thinks that's the best, then that's what I want to see.
I mean, the only reason that I wouldn't want Broker right now is a Broker or Bruker, whatever. But the issue is that, listen, the O-line is the only group really that you need the best amount of chemistry. And I'm hesitant to start a guy that you just picked up last week. That's the biggest issue that I have for starting Nick Broker as opposed to either Dieter or Patterson. Like that's the big issue.
That's why I say in the fantasy land, right? I mean,
yeah. No, I hear, and I completely agree there. So now the question is, like, we were talking about George Fant or Josh Jones at right tackle. What are the chances? Do you guys think that Titus will start at right tackle? Do you think it's dead, or do you think there's still a chance that he'll start week 1?
Crenshaw, we skipped you, so go ahead.
No, it's all good. Well, I think if he wouldn't gotten paid, he would have been starting this week. But since he got paid, his ass ain't playing. his ass ain't playing. So he got his bag now. So he's like, I'm gonna sit this one out.
Well, I honestly, he just got moved day to day, so I'm gonna say he's gonna start. A good Ravens defense. Like I said earlier, you want to keep CJ Stroud upright. Who's better than have Tyus Howard out there? I know it you're against it in the chat with me and Crenshaw, but there's been many players who played with a broken hand and that cast with a club at serviceable.
All pro.
Yeah, serviceable. I can see it. I can see it happening. And plus, like you said, I think they're going to run a lot of plays, so it won't affect them too much. So I think Howard plays.
So the reason why I'm saying that I don't think they'll have him play is because we have so many dudes out that listen, I could be completely wrong, but here's my reasoning. My reasoning is that there's so many dudes out that obviously they're trying to win, but they don't want Titus Howard to be in a position to play a game where we potentially could get run over and he hurts himself even more and is not there until week 8 or 9 or 10. And if we had a mostly healthy team, I could see them saying, go in there. Let's see, we can probably win this game, or we can try. We can do our damnedest. Now I don't know so much because at that point, if he re-injures that and he's out for 8 games or 10 games as opposed to 3 or 4, that's a huge risk. I would take that risk if the other dudes were healthy. So that's my reasoning.
Here's my question to you: would you rather see him get a little bit banged up or CJ Stroud out for the season?
Obviously, I don't want to see CJ Stroud for the season, but I don't listen. I don't like Fant at right tackle. Like I don't like him at right tackle at all. I'd rather have Titus out there. I'm trying to think.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, and I 110% agree with you. But we're playing the Ravens. That's the only reason why I want Howard to play.
Like the first 3 games, who has the best pass rush of the teams we playing in the first 3 games?
The Ravens.
So you want them out there, then you could put Fant on the left side, and we could do it like that. I mean, it's not impossible for him to play with that cast on his hand. I mean, he might complain about it, but he'll be all right. Kobe played with broken fingers, so he can do this right here.
You don't have to play him every snap, right? Like you can have him on the snap account, like have him in every. And I agree with Royal. Royal's been on fire today. Josh Jones, I would love him at tackle over Fant. I wouldn't mind him at guard. Like I liked him at Houston. I think he's a low key good pickup for us. But yeah, I think a snap count with Josh Jones would be great. But even with Fant, a snap count, keep him in there, especially to keep Howard up. AD, I see you.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to comment, man, because I'm thinking I just took a look at the Ravens' defensive line. Their pass rush comes from 2 places: interior and their linebackers. Their pass rush, they don't have any edges or anybody on the edge that scares you or makes you be like, oh, we gotta have Titus. Yeah, CJ Stroud, you want to protect CJ Stroud at all costs. And that idea with Josh Jones, hell, starting, if you want to start Dieter at left guard and move Jones to right tackle, if you're not that confident in Fant, then do that, and then, Patterson, Dieter, Fant on the end. But, if it's my biggest fear is that you put Titus out there, he re-injures himself, he's on IR again, he's out for another 4 weeks. Now you have to go through the heart of your schedule, and you're not expecting Titus to come back to after the bye week.
Right.
In week 8, now you miss your right tackle for basically half the season instead of just having them miss 1 or 2 games.
And see what AD said exactly about the pass rush is what I've been saying. Like it's coming from basically 2 linebackers. That's why I think they're gonna. That's why I'm saying they're gonna blitz, and they're gonna blitz right at that interior, right? Rush with 5, use those linebackers to get after the quarterback because AD is 100% right. Their edges ain't all that.
Right. Well, the linebackers though are Smith and Queen, or who play the outside, so they're going to blitz a lot on the outside too. So you're going to need a good tackle here and there. So that's why I'm saying do a snap count. But again, you want what's best for your rookie. I mean, I get what. Look, it's tough to say. I get what y'all saying, but if he's out there practicing and he's good to go, come Thursday, come Friday, then yeah, you put him out there.
Yeah, right.
But if you're a little worried, then no, you take him out. But I like that lineup right there, perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if he's available to play, and he's willing to play and he's ready to go, he knows his body better than the doctors or we would know. So if he feels like he's ready to go and 100, close to 100%, Titus, have a day.
So by you saying, by you saying,
he said Clowney, man, that don't scare nobody.
I know, right? So by you saying he knows his body more than the doctors, so you think that was the issue with Kenyon Green? He knew his body as well, or that's another?
He thought.
He thought.
He thought he knew his body, and his body said, "No, brother."
I think that was more a miscommunication on the trainers and Nick Casario than it was Kenyon Green saying, "I know my body." Like I think Nick Casario and the trainers dropped the ball tremendously on the Kenyon Green situation. I think he should have got that surgery and then plan ahead for the season back in May instead of shit, what are we gonna do now? It's only a week away from the start of the season. What are we gonna do? So I trust Howard more than I do the Kenyon Green situation, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I do have to say, like, Kassir really screwed up on the Kenyon Green situation. Like, you had 4 months to solidify that position, and then you wait, till pretty much the last minute when you're scraping the bottom of the barrel trying to grab someone when you already knew 4 months ago that Kenyon Green would likely have surgery and be out for the year. That to me was Kassir's biggest mistake this offseason, was not doing something about that. I'm not going to go through it all again, but just for people to, because a lot of people have been saying, like, why do you feel this way? Do you just hate Caserio? And it's not about the hate. It's about the last year when we had an issue with, here's what happened, right? We had Justin Britt, and Justin Britt played horribly in training camp, and we still put him as a starter. And then we used Scott Quesenberry as a backup who ended up being a starter, and then brought Scott Quesenberry back again this year, even though he was the worst lineman in the league. It's just been continuously that that Caserio, in my opinion, has not necessarily been the best when we're talking about constructing an O-line that should be able to give 3 seconds to a quarterback. He hasn't done that yet in 3 years. So that has been my concern with Caserio and the O-line.
We would say about this real quick. Let's be real. Kenyon Green is the biggest bust. The guy he will make the team next year because you just don't cut a first-round pick because of dead cap. And the only reason why we say he's a bust is because not of his playing style, is because of his variability. Your best ability is variability. You can't stay on the field. You can't get better. Therefore, you're not going to be good. So that's why he right now, he's a bust. So, yeah, I agree.
Well, I don't know
if you want
to
proven otherwise.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What were you saying, BT?
Oh, I was going to say, so, I mean, I'm pretty decent on this part. I don't know if you guys want to wrap it up with NFL news, or do you want to keep going on?
I was just gonna say let's wrap it and jump on the other stream.
Well, I don't like wrapping it up. That's why I got 5 kids.
Same. I got 4. So I agree with you too.
And on that note,
right. And on that note, everybody have a good. Make sure you wrap up. This show is brought to you by
Trojan.
Right. Damn, Crenshaw got me all flabbergasted. Oh, well, let's end this great show on this note. AD, why don't you tell us where we can find you at and more about the Houston Rundown?
Yeah, you can find me at BOOLEY60 on Twitter, or X if you wanna call it. You can also follow me at the H-Town Rundown. You know, we come in with you every week, and also the H-Town Rundown is on the new PSF app. We will be live stream media casting on Sunday, the Baltimore Ravens game. Me and Vader, Houston fans know him on the Rockets Twitter. He's going to be my co-host, so we're going to bring the H-Town Rundown to PSF Pro Sports fans. So download the app on Apple Store or whatever they call it. I'm not tech savvy like that, but yeah, on the App Store on Apple, and download the PSF app.
All right, Mr. Crenshaw, where can they find you and your 5 kids on Twitter on social media?
Yes. You can find all of them at Fifth Ward Crenshaw everywhere. That's why it's called Fifth Ward.
Yeah.
For 5 kids. And my hood. All right.
The crazy thing, BT probably has 20 kids. We just don't know about it yet. BT, tell us where can we find you and your stuff at?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at BrownChubbyBear. I'm on Threads as well. You can find me on Spaces, pretty much either in a space, host a space, or co-host a space, probably 3 to 4 times a week. So check me out. Let's talk about some Texans and other NFL stuff. And you can find my articles at fanbattlesports.com.
All right. And you can find me at A1 Day 1 Texans. Later tonight, you can also find me on the AFC South Fan Battle podcast, where I'm going to be clowning all those clowns of the AFC South, brought to you by the Fan Battle Sports Network. And, of course, Texans Fan Battle everywhere, all your amazing streaming platforms. So check us out. But also make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Help us keep growing so we can do amazing stuff like have Marc Vandermeer on. Again, guys, have a great, wonderful Labor Day, and we'll see y'all next week. Hopefully we're talking about a Texans win.
CJ is a captain.
This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out